She purposely hid my laptop. Is this breakup worthy? I mean, right off the bat, I already have some thoughts in my head, but context every story, baby, and we're gonna get into it. This story came December 13th, 2015. I lied, not at all. December 13th, 2025. I mistaked the 1 for 2. Some context. My partner, late 20s female, and I, late 20s female, have been together for 7 years. We've had periods of breaking up and getting back together. We recently moved in together after a long period of what felt like stability and growth. But since the moving process and moving in, there's been a lot of strife and fighting. Some of it old problems coming back up, and some of it new issues. One recurring problem is that my partner struggles with organization and will put her things, such as clothes, accessories, etc., in piles in a specific but non-designated place for those things. For example, putting a pile of clothes and jewelry on the couch or entryway table. When I or she accidentally moves these items, usually due to needing to use that space for its intended purpose or some other purpose, it becomes a huge problem. She gets frustrated and overwhelmed quickly, has wanted me to drop what I'm doing to look for it, and half the time it ends up in a fight. It's exhausting. And that is with an undercurrent of it being my fault that it is misplaced and it is my responsibility to find it, which makes me not want to help look for it anymore. We're still in the process of unpacking and settling in, and right now one of our bathrooms is filled with storage. She put a stack of her clothes, including a hat, on top of the storage items. I needed to get to those items to organize the house, and I did my best to put her things together. I don't recall moving the hat. Cue breakfast time. We're having a fine morning, chatting, and everything is good. She's getting dressed and goes to get her hat, which is not where she remembers putting it. Immediately, she's upset with me, telling me that I need to stop touching her stuff and how I always do this, and she's agitated and frustrated. I tell her calmly but firmly that I have no intention of moving her things, but if I need to get to the storage, I will simply have to touch her stuff. And that it probably fell behind some things, and to keep looking because I know that she will find it. She didn't want to hear that. She became increasingly more upset talking to me, stormed around criticizing me instead of actively looking, and I lost my patience and I left on a walk in the middle of her talking. Fast forward to that afternoon. My partner is not home. I'm looking around for my laptop. I have finals due the next day and I need to start working. Keep in mind, I do have another laptop that I just bought to replace my old one, but I hadn't set it up yet, and to manage my fickle ADHD motivation, I was going to use setting up my computer as a reward for completing my finals on my old laptop. I can't find my laptop anywhere. It's not in the place that I always leave it. My gut immediately says that she took it or moved it, but I decided to look around first and make sure that I didn't miss anything. I look everywhere. I texted her, "Did you take my laptop with you?" She takes a while to text back and says, "No, I don't have your laptop." I asked if she's seen it and can she check her iCloud since it used to be connected. And she wrote back saying, "No, it's been disconnected for a while." I text again, "Okay, so have you seen it?" No reply. I am now 95% convinced that she's lying to me, but I didn't want to believe that she would actually do this. She comes home in the evening. I ask again about my laptop. She sits on the couch, not looking at me, focusing on something else while I'm asking to talk to her about it. She chortles at my suggestion and says that the only other logical option if you don't have it and it's not in the apartment is that it's stolen. We live in a building. I keep pressing her. She says offhandedly, "I don't know, did you check that closet?" She walks over to the closet to put away her jacket, and I walk over to watch her, suspecting that she would pull it out of her bag or something. I didn't see her move anything, and I ask, "Why would you suggest the closet specifically?" This goes on for a few more minutes with her smiling smugly and snickering, and I'm getting increasingly upset. She's telling me that she's too busy to help me find my laptop by answering my questions. Finally, I walk over to the closet, the tiniest piece of doubt, wondering if maybe I didn't check it fully, and lo and behold, it's sitting right there on top of some jackets. The same jackets I completely pulled out of the closet while digging to find my laptop. It wasn't there before. I absolutely lose it. I am livid. I'm yelling at her that she is weird and that was cruel and disgusting behavior. I tell her I don't want to be in a relationship with her and I do not want to be in a relationship like this. Once I say that, she doubles down since I broke up with her and just proceeds to dismiss that it's just a computer and that it's not that serious, and was attempting to still make it seem like it was there in the closet the entire time. Turns out she hid it on the top shelf, the only place in this entire apartment that I didn't check. She still has not apologized and said she has no reason to since we are broken up now. Her response in the whole situation makes me feel sick to my stomach. I absolutely hate pranks. She knows this, and this wasn't even a prank. She basically admitted to doing this because she was pissed at me for losing her hat. Mind you, I found her damn hat while looking for my laptop exactly where I said it would be. I don't have the patience for this, let me tell ya. This feels extremely serious to me. It doesn't feel like a petty little act. It feels disrespectful, like a breach of my privacy and our shared space, and genuinely cruel. I told her I don't think you can care for someone and love them to do something like this, intentionally causing them distress, confusion, and harm. I cannot fathom how she thought this would play out. Not to mention, girl, did you get your finals done? Because they're tomorrow, and you could have been doing them all day. How'd you know where your laptop was? The whole process of breaking up is daunting, and I historically have not been good at maintaining my boundaries and my resolve when breaking up in the past. I initiated, but we were both expressing unhappiness. We live together now, and while the apartment is spacious, it is challenging to split up rooms. It's only a 1-bedroom, and the other room is still being used as storage. And finding a new apartment is even more challenging with financial constraints, having just moved so recently. I've been feeling a lot of frustration with our dynamics aside from the situation, as has she. I love her a lot, but I'm at my wit's end. I don't know if things will get better or if we are doomed. We've tried couples counseling again recently and it didn't go well. Partner was shut down and didn't like our therapist. Our communication is not improving. I need advice on how to move forward in this situation. Okay, based on that information, do you guys think that is breakup worthy? I want to hear from you. We're also going to check out what the people of Reddit are saying. So here are some of the top comments so far. Someone asked and said, did you tell her about your finals? OP wrote back. OP means original poster, simply the author. I definitely told her about my finals. She was well aware, probably justified it with herself by saying that I do have another laptop, the unopened one, but she knew how important it was. Then someone else commented and said, then you had another laptop. She made you feel how she's felt many times in just a single day. It doesn't matter how important her things are to you, or if you think they're unimportant, they're important to her and you should respect that. You didn't, and she took matters into her own hands. You both suck here. No pity from me. Honestly, don't even hold back next time. Tell us how you really feel. OP responded to that and said, for clarity, if someone accidentally moved a pile of things you left somewhere to get to storage underneath and something on that pile fell off into the storage area without them realizing before they put the pile back in the same spot, and then you couldn't find one of your items, you would think it's justified to take one of their personal belongings and hide it from them to make them feel how you felt? Yeah, I don't think that's the same thing of intentionally taking something and hiding it.
That is so not the opposite of taking somebody's underwear.
The hat falling wasn't like an intentional act. I think there's a big difference, like behind what your intention is and something being a complete accident. Next comment. Do you think this could have been prevented if you approached it better and made an effort to communicate fully and consider your girlfriend's perspective without judgment objectively? OP responded and said, you're telling me, objectively, I could have prevented her from hiding my laptop and gaslighting me if I just approached her better? I've tried to approach this topic in many ways, even before we moved in together. I've made a cautious effort to tell her where I've moved things and to keep things where they are. When a mistake was made, where there's no actual proof that I made it other than me taking responsibility for moving storage items, she did something intentionally hurtful and harmful to me. What about her approach? She's also dating me, and I am also a person. Next comment. So, did you know exactly where the hat was or not? Sounds like the pot calling the kettle black, but you can break up for whatever reason you want. OP responded and said, I didn't know where the hat was. No, I knew where her pile of clothes was in the storage area, and I did my best to keep everything together and put it back where I found it when I needed to get to the things underneath. Everything was stacked haphazardly. I didn't realize the hat was missing or even that it was specifically there until she was looking for her black hat, and I remembered seeing something black. There was also a black hand towel, which was where she and then I left it. I genuinely don't know if I was the one who moved it. It's a very low traffic area. I found the hat because I completely emptied the storage area and reorganized it in the process of looking for my laptop, and it was at the bottom of the stuff. I guess this is the feedback I'm curious about because I really am resistant to being told that I need to drop everything to help my partner or anyone find something before she has looked herself. It wasn't like she had searched extensively and I watched carelessly. There was less than a minute of looking before the blame started. It feels to me like weaponized incompetence, and that triggers me. I know this stems from my experience growing up where family has turned a missing item into a level 10 emergency that they need someone else to solve. And I was often the one to find it or try to fix it because 1, I have large patience, and 2, I had a large need to please. Interesting. We have some mixed feelings in the comment section. I feel like some people are siding with the girlfriend and maybe doubting your intentions. Interesting. We have an update. The first update came December 16th, 3 days later. I've been avoiding speaking to her, sleeping on the couch, getting my affairs in order quietly. She's been finding ways to try and rage bait me. Last night at 2 a.m., she came into the living room where I'm sleeping to ask where I put my rose toy. If you know, you know. I put it away because it's mine. It was always meant to be my personal toy, but she took ownership of it and I simply don't want her using it anymore. She then proceeds to harass me for 40 minutes straight to tell her where it is, to please give it to her, and that she just needs it to sleep. As she disrupts my sleep, I had to lock myself in the bathroom twice because she wouldn't respect me telling her to leave me alone, and she just kept coming back. At the end of this tirade, she asks, "When are you leaving for a holiday trip?" I tell her I don't know and to please leave me alone and let me sleep. No, I just need to know when you're going to be gone for an extended period of time because yeah, I just need to know. Implying that she needs to know when I'll be gone so she can get her rocks off with someone else in the house. I didn't get to sleep until after 3 a.m. I don't know about you, but my patience level couldn't be me. She gets up at 7:30 a.m. She never gets up this early, comes to the living room loudly, tries to hug me. I was sleeping. I tell her, please do not touch me. She says, really? How long are we gonna do this for? I pull the covers over my face and I try to ignore her to stay calm. She pulls them off my face to ask me a question. She proceeds to turn on all the lights, even though it is extremely bright. She blends something for, no exaggeration, 20 minutes straight. She stomps around, slams doors, loudly rummages through items. I stay under the covers and just contain my energy. Before she leaves again, she tries to hug me after I told her multiple times to please not touch me. She forces a kiss on my head and says, I love you, and asks again how long we're going to do this for. Finally, she leaves for the day. When I got up, I saw that she turned the heater in the living room up to 86 degrees from 70 degrees to make me hot and uncomfortable. I'm sweating, like literally my armpits just started sweating when I thought of that. 86 degrees, that's wild behavior. We also have pets. I just wanted to update because I needed to hear how messed up, manipulative, and abusive it is. And I just want to witness myself by writing this down and for it to be witnessed by others. I can't wait to get myself out of here. honestly, at this point, I feel like there's more than just the laptop reason for you guys to break up. There's a lot of reasons. You have been on and off for a while. You said that old problems keep coming back, which only means you guys never worked through them in the first place. There's a lot of things here that I'm like, maybe this is not meant to be. This doesn't feel like a healthy adult relationship. But we still have more updates, so maybe they end up together. I don't know. But first, you know the rules. It's hydration station time. Cheers. Drink your water. Thank you to all your suggestions. My burn is doing a lot better. I feel like this one is healing a lot better than my neck one was that you guys all thought was a hickey, but it totally wasn't. And yes, Matt needs to take my hot tools away, as some of you commented. I don't know how. I literally burn myself like every few weeks. All right, so we have the next update 2 days later. We're now at December 18th. I am abundantly clear now that it is indeed more than breakup worthy. I started reading Why Does He Do That after a couple of recommendations. This relationship has been nothing but abusive. I feel like a veil has been lifted, a bubble burst, and I am so grateful for this clarity, although it comes at a high emotional cost. I'm still getting things in order. I fear that she will find these posts, if she hasn't already, because she knows how much I use Reddit and could find it with keywords. I don't know if it matters though, as she just read my journal where I wrote extensively about all her instances of abuse for my own records while I was on a walk. I meant to bring it with me, but I left it in a rush and I was disoriented. When I returned, she said something that made it clear to me she read my journal. She has done this before, knowing that my journals are sacred to me. I stated, "I assume you read my journal." She proceeded to verbally abuse me for over 30 minutes, calling me insane, mocked me repeatedly about the journal, and called me all kinds of names. When I ignored her, she got in my face, banging on the table to get my attention, and tried to pull my headphones off. I have receipts of most of this tirade. This is after 2 nights straight of her blasting music to continue to disrupt my sleep. Last night, she played the same song over and over again from 10 p.m. to 9 a.m. A song by someone she was romantically interested in and almost hooked up with, like Jan from The Office. It would be funny if it wasn't so wicked. I lost my patience last night and I banged on the door and yelled for her to put on headphones. She wanted me to do this because now she is saying that I have been harassing and abusing her. Classic. There was maybe a 15-minute break and she started the same song up again at 9:30 a.m., screaming, singing, stomping, slamming, etc. My family's coming to get me and my pets, and I will be away and safe for a little while. I have anxiety about these posts being up, but it is cathartic to write them and it helps me to hold myself accountable and be held accountable and strengthen my resolve. I was gonna suggest for you to get out of there. I was like, you got a friend's couch you can sleep on. You're sleeping on a couch anyway. You might as well, if you can crash somewhere else for your own mental sake. I lived with someone in my past, and when we broke up, it was at like the beginning of the month, but we had both equally paid, so I literally couldn't do anything to get them out of there, and I had to live with them for the rest of that entire month, broken up. Probably one of the worst months of my entire life. Lord, I was being tested. And I passed. Anyways, probably one of the very few tests that I've passed in my lifetime. All right, now we have a more recent update. This one came January 26th, 2026, a bit over a month later. So we are on a lease together for 2 more days. I broke the lease and I made my plan to leave. I will move into my new apartment in 2 days. I'm packing by myself while working 50 hours a week overnights, and I'm going to school on the weekends. I am so proud of myself for leaving, but today I feel absolutely crushed. My ex was out last night in the building that we live in. I know that because she left wearing slippers, and I live in one of the areas where the snowstorm hit. She didn't come back to the apartment until after 5 a.m., which is when I went to bed after packing all night. Today, as I'm looking for something of mine in a bag of intimate toys that we once shared, we are two women, I realized the bag was recently moved within the last 2 days. I found it hidden under her clothes. It was visible, but still clearly intentionally concealed. And in it, there was physical evidence of her having sex with someone else. What do you mean? I'll spare you the details. No! We want the detail. Okay, maybe it's just me. Reading Reddit stories is like watching reality TV for me, okay? Your life, you're allowed. I'll spare you the details, but it was gross, hard evidence of what she's been doing recently. And even worse is I know she has been cheating throughout our entire relationship, though I can't prove it. I think I know exactly who she's been hooking up with too. Someone flirty who has brushed me off twice, pretending not to see me when I am right in front of her face, even though we had 2 extended conversations for over 30 minutes each while our dogs were playing. This happened just today as my suspicions mounted and everything came to life at once. My ex told me not to worry about her because, quote, she's totally not my type. I realized that this person who I convinced myself was kind and loving and occasionally cruel and angry and unloving due to trauma was just a really messed up, abusive, and narcissistic individual. I spent years in denial. When I had enough and broke up with her, I chose to go back and believe the lie that she had grown and changed and would love me better. Maybe it was days or weeks or months later, but she reeled me back in and I chose to go back. I blamed myself for years. I didn't believe that I deserved better. My denial was strong. Maybe if I'm more supportive and gentle, she would feel more loved and wouldn't be so angry with me. Maybe if I can get my family to understand her trauma and pain, they can overlook how badly she treats everyone around her. Maybe it's my fault. She treats me like this and I can find a way to change it and change her. I feel like a lot of people experience a relationship like that in their lifetime. This heartbreak is devastating. I feel betrayed, discarded, disgusted, sad. I know she is not and was not and will never be a loving partner to me, yet my heart still feels such a profound loss. For weeks, I suspected she was finding a new supply and I knew it in my gut, but seeing the evidence made it gut-wrenchingly real. And there's nothing to do with the pain except to feel it and finally take care of and love myself. Doesn't stop there though, you guys. We have an even more recent update. All I'm begging at this point is that you are not going back. For your own sake, okay? I feel this is a blessing in disguise for both of you. Go your separate ways. The final update was February 13th, 2026, almost 3 weeks later. I think it's time for probably my final update on the situation. 2 weeks ago, I did officially move out into my own apartment. I left with all of my stuff. I started a new job that pays me very well. I've been spending time with friends and family. I'm safe and in a much better place. The past couple of months, I've seen my relationship with my ex clearly, and truthfully, thanks to some input and DMs from fellow Redditors, I've done a lot of research into narcissistic personality disorder and narcissistic abuse. And I've realized that my ex is a narcissist and I've been in the cycle of narcissistic abuse for years. The more I read into it, the more I see how textbook her behavior was, and it makes me feel a strange combination of validated and embarrassed. Validated that I see I'm not alone in this experience, and embarrassed for all the research I've done into personality disorders and mental illness. I never once considered that she could have NPD. I was in denial and I did not once look into it. Now I know better. For a few months prior to our breakup, I occasionally wondered if she was cheating on me, which is an issue I don't usually feel insecure or worry about. Now I know that she definitely was cheating, and she's already found her new supply in someone who lived in the same building as us. I found that gross evidence to support my intuition. I realized that her hiding my laptop was a part of her discarding me, as she already determined that I was no longer viable supply for her. Being that I was focusing on my wants and needs, working on my codependency, going to school, and setting and upholding boundaries. She historically would treat me terribly for weeks to months until we reached a breaking point and I broke up with her. Then she would play victim and say how I abandoned her, and this was her flavor of discard, getting me to do the work for her as usual. When we got back together, she would hold that over my head as though me breaking up with her happened in a vacuum. It's devastating to realize this person I was so in love with for 7 years never truly loved me. She loved me the way one loves an object at best. But I am proud that her final discard came about because without fully realizing, I finally showed her that I loved myself more than I loved her or our relationship, and that is a win. She's already and will continue to jump from relationship to relationship, supply to supply, and that's a reflection of her broken personality. I've only ever been in one long-term relationship, and when I was done with him, I was done. No going back, no rekindling. I feel how I did then. A part of me is scared that the other shoe will drop and some attachment to her and trauma bond will make me weak and vulnerable to her hoovering her way back into my life or someone like her. But I am taking it day by day and I trust myself more than ever to protect myself. I will be staying single for as long as I need, probably a long time, and I will not be dating, and I feel good about that. I'm genuinely scared to date again, and I think that that is a sensible thing to feel. I never have to deal with that wench again. Let me know if you were surprised by this, if you thought that whole laptop thing was justified. I think their breakup actually comes from a multitude of reasons. I don't think it was specifically the laptop. To me, that feels like what is it? The straw that broke the camel's back. Is that the saying? You know what I'm trying to say. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.